Joining me now, Democratic Congressman Joe Courtney of Connecticut. Sir, it's great to have you with me, and as we talk about that ad, specifically, I just want to point out to everybody where that ad by the Gifford Super PAC will air in San Francisco, in Cincinnati, Louisville, and Las Vegas. And we point out the distinction there to show that Nancy Pelosi of San Francisco, the minority leader of the House Democrats, she has an F rating by the NRA. Harry Reid, though, has a B rating by the NRA. One thing that we also know about, sir, is that lawmakers are offering their extra tickets to certain victims of gun violence, and we see the leaders who are taking someone who has suffered at the hand of a gun. We know that you're taking a wounded warrior as your +1. Explain what the strategy is here by having someone in attendance that suffered gun violence.
Well, again, I think you have to put a human face on this issue because, at some point, we have to debate it in terms of constitutional issues. You have to debate it in terms of operational issues, how a universal background check would work. But at the end of the day, this is really the unacceptable levels of violence that ordinary Americans are suffering every single day because of a totally out of control system of gun ownership, which allows guns, very dangerous guns, to get in the hands of the wrong people.
Sir, Mark Glaze, who's the director of Mayors Against Illegal Guns, has said that it's not going to happen unless the heat is on, and members are feeling it every single day, and having these people looking at them from the gallery is a pretty compelling way of doing that. However, when the mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu, had a chance to speak with NBC's Lester Holt, he said that it's more of a blinder-style view of how we're all talking about gun control. Take a listen.
It is absolutely too narrow, and it's too simplistic, as though if you just ban assault weapons, somehow the murder rate in the country is going to go down automatically. It will not.
Sir, how do you respond to that?
I think that's a very unfair characterization of the president's package, which was very broad-based. It obviously, the issue of proliferation of guns in the hands of criminals and mentally ill is a big part of it, but the fact is he's investing record sums of resources into mental health counseling. We're looking at school safety issues, and again, there's a broad array of issues here that the mayor, I think, really sold the president short in terms of his characterization of what we're talking about here. I sit on the Education Committee. The Republican chairman in the House has scheduled a hearing at the end of this month on school safety. We know this is not a one-issue, one-agenda package in terms of reducing the amount of gun violence in this country, and I give the president very high marks for not letting up on this. When he came to Connecticut 2 months ago, he made a pledge to the people in that room at Newtown High School that this is not an incident that's just going to sort of be a news cycle story that he has maintained the pressure, and obviously the effort as these folks coming to Washington tomorrow is part of that campaign, which again I fully expect to stay very intense. And my colleague Gabby, who was in my class of 2006, is doing a great job with her husband Mark to be part of that.
Congressman, real quickly before we let you go, as you mentioned, you sit on the Education Committee. One thing you're making headlines for is the fact that you have sent a letter to Steven Spielberg complaining that Lincoln, his film, is historically inaccurate. In the movie, you say the two congressmen from Connecticut, they vote against the 13th Amendment, but in reality, the state's representatives at the time voted for the bill that abolished slavery. What kind of response have you gotten?
It's remarkable. Certainly back home, people have been thanking me because it was, just such an incredibly meticulous movie in terms of its historical accuracy. It's a brilliant movie, but it's going to be an educational tool someday. I mean, kids are going to be watching this in classrooms just like they have Schindler's List or Amistad, and good for Steven Spielberg. But the fact is Connecticut abolished slavery in 1848. We emancipated children of slaves in 1784, and again, we had a very strong delegation in 1865, really interesting people who were very active in the abolition movement, who unfortunately their legacy is completely distorted. And we're hoping, really, this is not intended to be a negative attack on the movie. It's really just an attempt to try and say, okay, when it's time for DVD, let's help the viewer understand that in the case of Connecticut, it was a leader in the effort to abolish slavery and advance human rights.
Connecticut Congressman Joe Courtney. Sir, thanks for making time for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.